See one. Hey everybody, this is Chris McCabe of ecommerceChris, and of course at the Seller Velocity Conference. I'm with James Thompson of Buy Box Experts, also well known as the founder of the Prosper Show. How are you today? I'm
glad to be here. Thanks for having me, Chris.
Yeah, and of course we're talking at the July 24th Seller Velocity event in Seattle.
Yes.
It's an afternoon event, half a day. I'll have a link in this video so that you can check that out. If you're in Seattle, of course, join us. If not, join us with a live stream ticket. More on that coming. James and I have been pulling hair out of our heads for the last couple of months, maybe a bit more than the last couple of years, around brand protection tactics and how we can help people. We're delving into this in depth at the Seller Velocity event, but for now, I would say my question to you is, what do you think the issue is? People don't know what to do when they get attacked, or they know what to do, they're just not successful at getting answers from Amazon?
I think there are folks that don't realize they're being attacked until it's potentially too late. Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden they find their ASINs are suppressed, their account may be suspended.
Right.
I think there are also folks that legitimately have their eye on what's going on, but there are not a lot of direct channels for communication with Amazon. And so they get very, very frustrated and they end up calling you, or they may end up calling me, or they may end up calling anybody they know who they think could potentially help them get these issues resolved. So right. It's very frustrating times for brands that potentially have been targeted by the bad guys.
Yeah.
So.
And of course, we'll be talking about a lot of strategy on the 24th in Seattle.
Yes.
I think some people actually do have strategies. They just aren't working very well. And they do have some contacts. I mean, people like us that know things, and maybe people at Amazon who know things.
Yep.
And sometimes we don't even have all the answers. We have more answers than, their friends and colleagues and other sellers. But it can be difficult when you get that log jam or you hit those obstacles. So one thing we'll be talking about is other escalation paths, right? Not just going to brand registry. I think some people might open a ticket with catalog when their listings are attacked, or even if they're trying to remove product reviews, fake product reviews, or fake safety complaints, for example. They go to brand registry and they open up a ticket and then they get stuck right away. Or they go to catalog teams and they get an answer that says, yeah, those listings shouldn't have been changed like that. I don't know why that happened, or maybe they even tell you why it happened, but they get stuck. So a lot of what we're going to spend time talking about is just how to escalate, right? More than just depending on one particular path. So from your perspective, when people get stuck or they start to panic that they'll never succeed at getting a listing reinstated, I mean, you and I have seen that they usually do eventually succeed with it, right? If they do it the right way. What's your advice to the anxious person? And I know this isn't an easy question, but anxious and they feel like their whole business, their top selling ASINs may go down the tubes forever.
So my first suggestion is recognize that very few things move quickly at Amazon. And the nature of some of these problems involve multiple teams that don't always necessarily communicate with each other on a regular basis, or may not even realize that what happens in one area affects another area, affects another area. And so from a seller's perspective, they see, oh, my ASIN's been hijacked, or, oh, someone's leaving false reviews. The reality is, to clean that mess up, you need a whole team of different doctors who are going to come in and clean that up.
Right.
It's not a matter of we're going to talk to one person. And so if you need a whole bunch of different teams to work to solve the problems that this one issue may have caused, the reality is if you have ways of getting to all those different teams as a seller, I would rather spread things around and try to get all those teams to start paying attention.
Right.
Understandably, you talk to one team and say, okay, here's part of the issue. I have a bunch of bad reviews. Can you please remove them? Well, there may be a team that does that. You can start on trying to solve that problem. But I mean, this is literally, for sellers that are attacked like this is like being in a horrible car accident and you need to go to ER and there's 5 different doctors looking after you. At the end of the day, you want a doctor to see you, but the reality is you're going to need lots of different teams to help take care of you.
Right. And that's why I think a comprehensive strategy works from the beginning. Having it ready to go and prepared before it even happens to you is the ideal. Otherwise, using more than one tool, right? You and I can come up with suggestions for start with this tool, try this.
Yep.
But we can't necessarily map out the first 5 steps in advance. Sometimes you have to wait a little bit to see if brand registry even gets back to you, let alone helps you if you have a brand problem. But brand registry doesn't respond as quickly as they used to. And sometimes they merge cases, right? They merge escalations back with the old case, and you have to go somewhere else. So why not have that ready to go in advance before they do something like that?
I think it's fair to say if you are attacked, it's going to take 2 to 3 weeks at least for most of these sellers to get anything appropriately resolved. Right. 2 to 3 weeks is a horribly long time. Your hero product is under attack and you can no longer sell it. But the reality is that there's so many people dealing with Amazon right now that, in fairness to Amazon, there is no team big enough to be able to solve every one of these problems within 10 minutes. Right.
And that's one of the things we'll be talking at Seller Velocity on the 24th is simply what can Amazon be doing differently? They won't necessarily listen to all of our suggestions and ideas, but maybe in the future there can be designated task forces that are just dealing with use cases and examples that we give and show them and break through some of these giant log jams that we see. So we'll be talking about all this and more in Seattle. Thanks again for coming. I don't know how far you have to actually travel that day, but thanks for being with us that day. We definitely want to hear what you have to say, and I'll have lots of great questions for you. We'll be taking questions, of course, from people who are attending as well. So
look forward to the event, July 24th, Seattle.
Soul Repair on Capitol Hill. If you've been to Seattle before, food and drink will be there, and we look forward to seeing you.
Thanks Chris. Again.